Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 212th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. And this battle was supplied by Brotherhood member TR. His first teammate is Brotherhood member Crimson Overlord. He's called himself Pain in this game, but it is actually Brotherhood member Crimson Overlord, and he's bought the Macedon faction. Just looking at his Royal Pikemen here, you can now draw your attention to the upgrades on those pikemen units. If you notice, they've got 8 banners above them, so that's 8 upgrades. And look at the length of those pikes there. That's why it makes it so difficult for Roman troops to be able to fight down those pikes to kill the men on the other end. So that's why Roman generals really don't like attacking those pikemen head on. And I think he's got about 8 units of those pikes. And then we move on to his Cretan archers. Now these Cretan archers have got long range and they do a lot of damage. And most Macedon generals usually bring those archers to help cover their pikemen, who are very susceptible to archer casualties. And there he's bought the companion cavalry as well. He's made a companion cavalry unit his general unit there. If you notice, he's got 8 upgrades on, and there you can see the general there sat on his horse with as part of that companion cavalry unit there. As a companion cavalry are often called the winged horsemen because of those wings on their helmets. So there's Crimson Overlord's Macedon army. Looks pretty good to me. And then their next teammate is Brotherhood member TR, who's actually supplied this battle, and he's bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Uther, and he's bought the Rome Scipii faction there. Just like to draw your attention to Uther has bought the old school cavalry Roman armored general there, and just to look at the upgrades on that cavalry general unit there, you can see that it's maximum upgrade, 9 upgrades on there. So that makes this elite unit, which already has good specifications, even more elite and even more formidable with that maximum upgrades on them. So looks pretty good team to me. You wait till you see the other team. This should be a great battle for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Tigranus, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. Just like to draw your attention to his 2 pilot shield units, that rather than being lengthwise across his army there, he's actually made them stand out from the army there. Unusual formation there, unusual place to put your pilot shield units. Should be interesting to see how well that works. And then we have Brotherhood member Talos, who has bought the Rome Brutio faction. And then their final teammate is Brotherhood member Cal, who has also bought the Rome Brutio faction. So there's the other team there, really good players. As I said earlier, this should be a great one for you to watch. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle, even before the armies are formed up, can you see how Crimson Overlord is advancing with his Macedon army towards the enemy Brutii army there? Now most people that play with Macedon probably play them in a defensive passive role, allowing and hoping that the enemy will come onto their pikes. But I think Crimson Overlord there, looking at the way he's positioning his army, looks like he's going to play Macedon in quite an aggressive manner here. If you notice, he's got his pikes and cavalry close together there, and his archers out the front of his army. And what I'm thinking is he's hoping that when Cal starts moving his infantry around, then those 6 Cretan archers could cause that Cal some casualties there. But as I say, right from the very beginning of the battle here, even before the armies are formed up, you can see that Crimson Overlord is looks like he's going to try and play aggressive with Macedon. With those archers close by to Cal, if he moves his infantry in any direction there, Crimson Overlord could open up with those archers and cause him a lot of casualties. Should be interesting to see what happens next. Okay, at this stage of the battle, you can see that Crimson Overlord, or Pain, has moved his infantry forward there. And if you notice that Cal is moving his infantry back now, as you know, in RTW, a unit's weakest part is its rear and its side. Well, as Cal is retreating there, he's offering his rear of his units to these Cretan archers here, who will make the most of that. And if you notice that Crimson Overlord's got those Cretan archers in tight, close formation, not in open order, so the impact of their arrows can do even more damage. As you can see here, here's some casualties that Cal suffered already through retreating under archer fire. Further across in the battle here, you can see that Crimson Overlord's teammates TR and Uther have moved over. And if you draw your attention over here on this left flank here, you can see that Tigranes' Julii army here looks like he's thinking about doing an attack here on this flank. The way that Uther's moved his army across like that is flank and rear could be as susceptible to this Julii army here. Although my guess is that Uther will spot that and sort his army positioning out there. And as you can see there, Uther spotted the danger there and has turned his army to face the enemy Julii infantry there. Just like to draw your attention to how far over on this left flank Tigranes has brought his Julii. Let's just pause the game for a second here. Now, I've always said being aggressive in RTW is good because it keeps the enemy on the back foot. They have to react to you and dance to your tune. But he's so aggressive there on this flanking action, he's kind of got himself quite a long way away from his allies, a little bit isolated there. And if Uther's allies get over here quick enough, then maybe Tigranes' army could be cut off a little bit here. As I say, being aggressive in RTW is good, but you need to be careful when you are attacking there. Right, if you notice that Tigranes is charging his cavalry directly into Uther's Scipii cavalry there. And that's one kind of, some kind of cavalry hit there. Okay, Uther's cavalry general, I think, has just been killed there. And if you notice that Tigranes has brought his Julii army, and just pause the game for a second here. You notice Tigranes is bringing his Julii infantry into this fray over here against Uther's cavalry. But he is, look at the gap between Tigranes and his ally. There's a big gap. It's a long way for his allies to get over to be able to help him there. So he has become a little bit isolated, and that's through being very aggressive. But when you're aggressive, you have to be kind of a controlled aggression. And as you can see there, he's opened up a big gap between himself and his allies. And if Uther's allies are quick enough to get over here with reinforcements, then Tigranes could be in real trouble. Right, as you can see, Uther's got his cavalry ready to charge in. Now, if you notice that TR is bringing some of his units, just pause the game for a second here. Just a bit of good teamwork, just like to show you here. If you notice that TR is leaving half his army there to hold against that Brutier army in front of him if need be, and then bringing the other half of his army over to this flank here, seeing that Tigranes is getting isolated. If he brings half of his infantry over to attack Tigranes along with his cavalry and Uther's army that's already over here, then Tigranes' Julii army could be in big trouble there. If you notice that Talos has sent some cavalry over here to attack the Scipii army there, and you can see that Cal's moved out to the right flank there, even further away from Tigranes on the left flank. So as you can see here, Tigranes' allies are quite a long way away, and Cal suffered a lot of casualties from those archers, those Cretan archers. Well, every time he moves, he's getting peppered by arrows there. So anyway, back to this left flank here. As you can see, Tigranes' red Julii army is really isolated out over here on this left flank, and Uther's allies bringing some more reinforcements over here ready to attack.
We're under attack.
As you can see, Tigranes just charged his cavalry in there, but if you notice his line of infantry now is a little bit exposed to a rear attack, as TR has taken some cavalry units, SBQR cavalry units, in behind Tigranes is engaged infantry there. If you notice that Cal and Talos have brought cavalry over here to support Tigranes there, and it looks like a lot of Uther's allies units are coming over here to help support Uther, and as I say, put a lot of pressure on Tigranes' Julii army, red Julii army. Right, just pause the game for a second here. As you can see, a lot of SBQR and Uther's allies there have moved over to that flank. And if you notice that Cal, over on that right flank there, he's a long way away from being able to bring reinforcements over to help Tigranes. Both Talos and Cal are quite a long way away. And that's because when Tigranes was being so aggressive there, he kind of got a little bit isolated from his allies there. But both Cal and Talos have sent their cavalry over to try and support him. But looking at Uther's allies, the support that his allies have sent over here, I think that maybe the best thing for Tigranes to do is pull those infantry units that aren't engaged back up the battlefield towards his allies there. He might have to sacrifice some of his engaged units there, but it would save a lot of his army, and he could kind of get back in with his allies. But if he just stands there as he is, then there's a chance he's going to get hit by fresh Macedon cavalry, as well as the other infantry there. If you notice that the Cretan archers here are targeting, if you look at the casualties that Cal has suffered as he's been running across the battlefield there, as he's running, he's been offering his flank to those Cretan archers, so he's lost a lot of men. And my guess is that Crimson Overlord will target those infantry as long as they show him his flank, their flank, but also he'll probably start targeting enemy cavalry in time as well. Right, as you can see, TR's got a lot of infantry and all his cavalry over here on this flank. Now, as I said, really now Tigranes should move those unengaged units over, away from the SPQR infantry and Scipio cavalry there, and infantry there. Move his infantry towards his allies. Otherwise, if he stays where he is, he's still in a very kind of dangerous position there. You see, there's lots of attacking with cavalry and lots of counter-attacking going on this flank. Right, if you notice that Tigranes now is moving his infantry further over to this flank and away from his allies here. Now, like I said before, it's great to be aggressive on RTW and to attack, but if you get kind of over-aggressive and kind of get isolated and separated from your teammates, then you stand a very big chance of actually being cut off and annihilated there by the enemy. If you notice now, he's so far away from his allies' infantry there now that I would think that Uther's army and the SPQ army are really going to start attacking now, because they can, if you like, smell blood. I think they can see that Tigranes' army is likely to be susceptible to routing now. Right, can you see a lot of Tigranes' Julii Red army is starting to rout now. If you notice that Crimson Overlord was just throwing in his fresh companion cavalry there, and if you notice now that most of Tigranes' Red Julii army has routed here over on this flank. As I said before, it's great being aggressive in RTW, making the enemy react to you, dance to your tune kind of thing. But if you become over-aggressive and get too far away from your allies, then this is what actually can happen here. So basically now, this is kind of turned into a 2v3, because I think basically all of Tigranes' Red Julii army has now been routed. So it's basically Talos and Cal with their green Brutii armies taken on Uther, Pain and TR with their Scipii blue, SPQR purple, and of course a Macedon army there as well. So as I say, it's great being aggressive on RTW, but you need to kind of have controlled aggression and really keep an eye on keeping close to your allies as well there. Okay, so after the routing of Tigranes' army now, you can see that Crimson Overlord once again using Macedon as an attacking force here, both cavalry and pikes. You see how he's run his pikes forward there, ran his cavalry in. He's keeping his pikes up with his cavalry fighting there, because remember, friendly pikes kill friendly cavalry, but he's still using his pike infantry. They'll fight with their swords against that Brutii infantry. A nice little move there by Crimson Overlord there. And nice to see Macedon Nice to see Mastodon used so aggressively. It's very rare that you see Mastodon used so aggressively as that. Okay, now he's moved his pikemen forward. Probably what he'll do next is put his pikes down to kind of hold the line there. There you can see he's putting his pikes down. But when he charged his cavalry in to attack that Brutii cavalry, he made sure he kept his pikes up because, as I said, friendly pikes do kill friendly cavalry. So that's a nice tactical move there by Crimson Overlord, seeing an opportunity to attack that enemy Brutii army there. If you notice, TR has bought some purple SBQR units in behind TR's pikes there. In behind Crimson Overlord's pikes there. And as I said before, it's nice to see Mastodon used in a nice aggressive attacking way. It's very unusual to see that. And also Crimson Overlord can use them in a defensive way now. He's like kind of formed a battle line there with his pikes, and the enemy look like they're attacking them. Okay, let's just pause again for us to take stock of the situation at the moment. As you can see, Crimson Overlord's got his Mastodon companion cavalry out here on the right flank facing that Brutii cavalry. You can see here that Crimson Overlord has got his pikes down here in a defensive position, and the Brutii army, the enemy Brutii army, are now attacking his pikes head on. And then TR has got some units in behind Crimson Overlord's pikes there, and probably they'll be throwing pikes into throwing their pilers into the enemy Brutii army there. So as you can see there, that's a nice position there for the Macedon general to be in with his allies right behind him. And over here on the right flank, you can see that you've got Uther's blue Scipii army here, and some of TR's units over here on this flank as well. So there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment. And remember that Crimson Overlord's archers are at the back there, and he'll probably be selecting targets to for those archers to fire on. Like for instance enemy cavalry, if the cavalry moves, or the flank of any infantry, enemy infantry unit at all, you'll be watching out for that. If you see here, Cal's moving some infantry units round to this flank. Now what he may do with them, he may well charge those into the flank of those fighting Macedon units there, or he might use those infantry units to kind of team up with his cavalry to take on Crimson Overlord's cavalry there. But if you notice there, he's charging into the flank of the engaged Macedon pikemen. Remember, pikemen's weak spots when they're fighting are their flank and rear. So what he's done there, he's pinned those pike units with some of his units there, and took some units round the flank. But I would think they're very aware of Crimson Overlord's Macedon companion cavalry there out on that flank. So it wouldn't surprise me if they combined cavalry and infantry on this flank to try and maybe take on that Macedon cavalry, or at least push them away from the battlefield. If you notice that Crimson Overlord's archers at the back there probably be targeting the Brutii cavalry. If the Brutii cavalry come into range of Cretan archers, they can suffer quite a lot of casualties. Right, if you notice that TR has taken his infantry forward through his allies' pikes there to attack the enemy Brutii infantry in front. Meanwhile, over on the right flank here, you can see that Uther's blue Scipio army have formed up there in a kind of a defensive formation to hold that flank, and a couple of TR's units are there as well to kind of shore up that flank if it's attacked. So there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment. If you notice there, TR has made sure he's brought some of his SBQR units over to defend his allies' pikes flank. As we said earlier, the pike units' most vulnerable spots are their flank and rear, and TR, seeing the enemy attacking his allies' flank there, has moved some of his SBQR units over there to protect that flank. Nice bit of teamwork there. If you notice that Crimson Overlord has moved his Macedon companion cavalry out into a threatening manner on this flank here.
The enemy show their true virtue. They are not soldiers.
Remember what you're talking about, how long those Macedon pikes are there? There's a close-up there of those pikemen in action. Can you see how those Roman soldiers find it so difficult to fight down those pikes to kill the men on the other end? With those pikes, can you see how many of those Roman soldiers are being killed by those pikes there when they try to attack? So that's why Roman generals try to avoid a head-on clash with with pikemen. They prefer to go around the flank or the rear. Right, here do you remember what we said earlier about there could be a combination of infantry and cavalry here to have a go at Crimson Overlord's cavalry? And quite rightly, Crimson Overlord's moved his cavalry away there. Meanwhile, over on this other flank here, you can see a concerted attack there by the Brutii team on Uther's units. Now remember, Uther's units were very weakened in the battle earlier with that aggressive flanking attack there by Tigranes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that flank. Meanwhile, back over here on this flank here, you can see that Brutii force that was chasing away the Macedon cavalry have come back with a vengeance and smashed into some of TR's SPQR units there, and of course some of those units to rout. Nice little move there by the Brutii team. As you can see, Crimson Overlord's brought his cavalry across now, ready to attack when needed, and TR is charging his cavalry in there to help relieve the pressure on his infantry there. Right, meanwhile, over on this other flank, as I said, Uther's blue Scipio army was very battle damaged from the battle earlier, where he was fighting Tigranes and his allies' cavalry there. If you notice, the Brutii infantry are attacking aggressively. Right, if you notice, the Brutii cavalry have done a cavalry switch. And what I mean by that is they've switched their cavalry from one flank over to this flank, because they've seen that the Scipio army was weakened in battle, and what they're doing is they're charging their cavalry, doing the cav switch, and with infantry attacking as well, could take out this Scipio army here that's holding the flank. Right, okay, let's pause the game here. Right, okay. Now what they've done here, the Brutii team, remember that they lost their ally earlier on, so they've done extremely well here. They've managed to rout the left flank of TR's team here. Remember that those Scipio units were very battle damaged. Now those Brutii forces there will try and get behind those engaged pike units with a view to charge into the rear or flank of those Macedon pike units there. Meanwhile, back over on the right flank here, can you see TR's SPQR units there? You can see the archers here. Can you see these Cretan archers? They've run out of arrows now, so they've pulled their swords. If you notice, they've got short swords or knives there. And Crimson Overlord probably use those as infantry now, keeping them in close, tight formation. He may well combine them with his cavalry if he gets in behind the green Brutii army there. Nice little combination there of those archers and the cavalry, if he can just get behind, as I say, those engaged green Brutii troops there. Right, there you go. So if he gets in behind there, that's where he will aim to be there. Now, also TR here with his purple SPQR army needs to get units over to that other flank there to stop those Brutii units getting in behind his Macedon ally there. He spotted the danger there, so I imagine he'll be running units over there as fast as he can to try and block that green enemy team's progress on that flank there. Macedon morale is so low that if you could start getting a few units to rout, then it could cause a chain rout. So that's what the green army was hoping there. If he could get some cavalry and infantry in behind those Macedon units, they could start a chain rout. Right, if you notice there that the Brutii army on this flank are really trying to take out those SPQR support units that's come over to help their Macedon ally. And a lot of those SPQR units are starting to rout. Right, can you see here, Crimson Overlord has got his cavalry, his companion cavalry. Let's just pause the game for a second here. He's got his companion cavalry and his archers there in an attack on those Brutii infantry. Like we said earlier, he's combined his companion cavalry and those archer units in tight formation there into attack that Brutii army there. Nice little combination there. It's causing the Brutii general to take his units away from pinning and fighting those Macedon units to actually counter those archers and cavalry. If you notice that TR is moving his SPQR units forward there as well. But at the back here you can see that the Brutii force is really trying to take out those SPQR units to get in behind those Macedon pike units there. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and the battle may be, if they can get a chain rout going, the battle could still go either way at this time. Just pause the game for a second here. As I said earlier, you can see that the companion cavalry and the Cretan archers here are in mass taking on this Brutii infantry, causing that Brutii infantry general to move troops away from fighting those pikemen to actually counter this cavalry and archer attack here. So that's a nice little move there by Crimson Overlord to get that. But if you notice that TR's SBQR purple force is coming in there as well to attack. Right, can you see the Macedon cavalry charging in, and bang! Now remember, that Brutii infantry has been fighting for a long time against those pike units, so they're going to be tired, they have battle casualties as well, and their morale will be low, and that cavalry hit has just finished them off. Right, can you see the Brutii general charging his cavalry in there, but his cavalry are charging into routing friendly troops, so their morale will drop as well, and they'll probably end up routing at the same time. If you charge troops into routing allies, then very often their morale will drop and you'll get a mass rout, and that's exactly what's happened there.
The enemy show their true virtue. They are not soldiers,
and it looks like
frightened rabbits running from our
Crimson Overlord, TR and Uther's team have managed to go on to win this, but towards the end it could have actually gone either way there. Just like to draw your attention to the dead on the battlefield here. There was only a 3v3, but can you see how stretched out the dead are across this battlefield? This goes to show how intense the fighting was from flank to flank in this battle, all the way over to there. Right, the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to both teams there. There's some great tactics there. Some great cavalry hits and some great tactical moves there. Just like to draw your attention to Crimson Overlord Payne's Macedon army there, using it in an extremely aggressive manner for a lot of the battle there. If you notice, he's got the highest kills on the game. A lot of people that play Macedon play them in a passive defensive way, but I'm glad that I could show you this battle to show you how effective and aggressive they can be if used effectively. And if you notice, the highest kills he's got is the highest kills by a long way on the whole battlefield, so really well done to him. If you notice, poor Tigranes, he showed a really aggressive attacking tactic at the beginning by doing that really aggressive flanking action, but unfortunately allowed himself to kind of get isolated and get too far away from his allies, where he was then able to be completely annihilated by the other team. He did weaken a lot of the enemy units there, but as I say, aggression is good on RTW, because if you're very aggressive, then the other team has to react to you. They have to kind of dance to your tune, but it has to be controlled aggression, and whatever happens, keep yourself close to your allies, because otherwise you can, as you saw in this example, you can be caught out there. So just like I say, really well played to everybody in the game, and just say I hope you enjoyed watching this battle, and if you did, please subscribe to our channel. It's always nice to get new subscribers, and you will be informed automatically when the next battle is ready to watch. Spartan Commander saying bye for now.